In this video, guys, I wanted to do a 2-year update on the Waitley batteries that I've been using. So it's been over 2 years. And overall, guys, I want to just tell you right off the bat that I've had a pretty good experience with these Waitley batteries. But let me delve into some of the reasons why. First of all, let me start with the idea that if you're a contractor out there, if you're a contractor and you make your money with your tools, you should be using the DeWalt 20-volt batteries, okay? You should not be using the Waitley batteries because you cannot be risking jobs and job performance with possibly substandard battery performance. You just can't do it. What I'm talking about is you're a consumer or a homeowner like me. You do not make money with your tools. And so then you say, hey, look, do I want to give something like a Waitley a try? And the answer for me has been yes, and I'll talk about why that is, okay? Why it is that these Waitleys, I think, are pretty decent. But I first want to talk about what to avoid. I want you to avoid all the other aftermarket batteries. At least none that I have seen thus far are any good. Power Extra, Top Bat, Powtree, Vannon. These things are all junk, in my opinion. This Vannon, for example, this 4 amp hour Vannon is not nearly as powerful and doesn't run half as long as just a 1.5 amp hour DeWalt battery. 1.5 amp hour. So this was always disappointing and is just really a piece of junk. So if you want to give the Waitleys a try, have at it. I wouldn't really try any other aftermarket battery, in my opinion. Okay, so one of the reasons why I think Waitleys are worth trying, or at least there's a use case for them, is because you can buy, generally, if you wait for a good price, you can buy usually 3 Waitleys for every 1 DeWalt OEM battery. 3 6-hour Waitley amp hour batteries for every 1 5 amp hour DeWalt battery. That's usually what it is. Also, you don't have to worry about buying knockoff Waitley batteries because there's not enough profit margin for people to have knockoff Waitley batteries as opposed to knockoff DeWalt batteries, which are a real problem. So, okay, let me talk about my 2 years of use. Generally, what I found is that, and I talked about this a little bit in the other video, I could do all of the trimming and blowing in my corner lot. I don't have a huge lot, but it is a corner lot. So there's lots of trimming and blowing. A lot of trimming and blowing, and when I was done with the trimming and blowing, if it started off at 100%, like this one here, this one's 100%. If it started off at 100%, after all the trimming and blowing, it would be like 40%. And that stayed pretty consistent over the 2 years, which is really impressive. Now, what I've done, though, over the last probably over a year and a half is, because I've been studying battery technology and how they work, and I want to also give you guys a little bit of a tip. The way I use these for trimming and blowing is I grab a Waitley, I trim half the yard or do half the trimming, and because it starts to heat up after about 10 minutes, right? Still good, it still could go all the way, but it starts to get hot. And I don't think you want batteries getting hot if you can avoid it. So after about 10 minutes of trimming, I take it off, I go grab the other Waitley, I put that on, I do about 10 more minutes of trimming, and I finish all the trimming. It usually takes about 20 minutes of trimming. And then I'm all done with the trimming. Okay, so now it's time for the DeWalt blower, which is a pretty powerful blower. And then I go back to the first one, which is now cooled for 10 minutes, and I use that for blowing. And so I use them together, and using them together has been a really great way because they just seem to be lasting forever. And I haven't even had to use my big 5 amp hour DeWalt or my smaller DeWalts for any type of trimming or blowing for the last few years. So I've just been using the Waitleys, and I've had really good experience, guys. So I just wanted to share that with you. Also, one other issue is when you're working on your car, if you use 1.5 amp hour batteries for like this DeWalt Impact, what you're going to find is that you cannot take off lug nuts with a 1.5 amp hour battery. It just doesn't have the power. But if you put on the big 5 amp hour, this thing will spin off lug nuts like it's nobody's business. Also, if you put on one of the Waitleys, 6 amp hours, this thing will spin off lug nuts like it's nobody's business. So point being is that the Waitleys have about the same amount of power as the big 5 amp hour DeWalt, and you can spin off lug nuts with either one. So I wanted to make that clear. Very impressive. So yes, do I think Waitleys are a fairly decent buy? Pretty good deal? Yeah, I do, especially if you can get them at a good price, and you can buy roughly three for every one DeWalt battery. Now, if you're saying, Tom, there's no way I'm ever going to use this Waitley stuff. Totally cool. You want to use, which I feel are the best, you know, these things, the DeWalts have the Samsung cells or the LG cells. They have, you know, really good build quality. You know, you can't go wrong with the DeWalt OEM. Okay, I'm not saying that they're not the best. I think they are the best, but they're just so ridiculously expensive, guys. I just feel like I'm getting ripped off if when I look at the prices on these things. So that's what's pushed me to the Waitley. I've had good performance with the Waitley. I wanted to pass that information along to you. Hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Take care.